everybody. I'm your host, Andrea Gazzetta, and I'm joined today by my parents. What? Lori and John Dad, or what I call them. I don't. It's just Mom and John Dad. You guys want to say hi?
Hi.
Hi.
So I like to start this podcast out by telling all my guests something that I love about them. I assure you I don't love you just because I have to. I really do love you. Something that I really love about you guys is that you have loved and supported me my entire life, which is pretty dope. I think that as parents, you did a really good job of giving me the skills I need to be a self-sufficient adult and giving me the skills I need to question authority and make my own choices and kind of like assess situations instead of just going along with what other people say. And you've also given me a wonderful sense of humor. And I really love you guys a lot. And I also have to say, like, John Dad, I've known you less time, probably than Mom. But I have to say, I really love that you came into our family and that you love me even though you didn't really have to. And you've been a really good dad, and I love you so much.
Oh, I had to.
It was the criteria.
No getting around that.
But thanks for really picking up the slack.
Okay.
So I want you guys to kind of talk about how you first met and how you fell in love. And if you want to say nice things about me too, you can. That's cool, but you don't have to. But yeah. Mm-hmm. So how'd you guys meet? What happened?
It was a cold day in Siberia. No, actually, Mom worked with a gal at home
hospital and home.
Hospital and home care. And I was building a house for her and her husband, and they thought I might be a nice fit for Mom, and we forgave them eventually, but no, it went on a date, and it was a day or an evening that was probably 25 below zero.
Oh, really? It was a winter date?
Yep, February
2nd.
Okay. And none of our cars would start except your mom's.
Because I had a garage.
Yep.
Ooh, you're so fancy.
I had a garage.
But we finally did make it there. And luckily we did. And we met. And I did a chivalrous thing. And I sat by the window.
Because it was freezing cold. It was so cold that day. Even the window was just shivering by the window inside the building. But what you're not telling is how long it took us to meet.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
They started working on us around September, and I was refusing to meet him because I hated all men, and I never wanted to date ever again.
You had some winners in between. You had the neighbor with the dogs.
The neighbor with the dogs.
Yep. He was weird.
He was weird. I just went on a couple dates with him.
It was fine.
And then, so we kept never wanting to really meet each other.
Did you want to meet Mom? Or were you just like, whatever?
No, I did. Although, again, all of the baggage that came along with Mom was...
Me. It was me?
No.
No.
You and your brother and...
Some past. Some salty past.
That I wasn't sure. I mean, it
Did you know all that before you went on the first date?
No, I didn't really know all of it, but it became more clear that, what I was getting into was a lot. I mean, it wasn't, just meet a girl and date. It was the whole enchilada.
Had you ever had a girlfriend before you met Mom?
Yeah, didn't last very long.
What's your longest relationship before you met Mom?
Not long. Friends. I had friends that were semi-girlfriends, but a few newspaper dates that were very eventful.
What happened? Tell us about one.
Well, I mean, what they write in the paper and what you talk on the phone with them about is nothing like their real life when you finally meet them and you get all the details splurged out there, and it's like, oh my gosh, you just want to pretend to go to the bathroom and not come back.
I've done that. It's okay.
My favorite story is the one about the woman who looked just like your friend's brother.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting. Yep.
What?
Just looked like my friend Wally's brother Scott with long hair.
You're like,
Couldn't get past it. I mean, I just couldn't. It's like, I can't. You know?
did you accidentally call her Scott?
No, I didn't, but I just couldn't. Oh. And, there was, the one woman who I called up on the phone that she was just screaming profanities at her children while I'm on the phone, like, I'm on the phone, get away, you son of a brother, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't bode well. And so after like 10 minutes of that, all the screaming and hollering, I said, I don't think this is going to work. And she goes, you've never even met me. And I'm like, I kind of think I have. So
she sounded like a winner, Dad. What are you passing up?
Well, I mean, again, meeting your mom, I mean, it was, she had a job,
This is a good,
she was a nurse. It was, there were some good things there, but there still was a lot that I didn't know and a lot that was, going to be a lot for me to take on.
Did you know after the first date that you want to hang out with her again?
Yeah.
How many dates into like hanging out were you like, I really like this lady?
Well, again, I mean, there was a period of time where I was kind of scared. I mean, my thought was, if I was taking on a lot, was it something, because when you enter into something and you get connections, it's harder to break off, whereas if it's a one date thing, it's easier to break away from that.
Right.
And, I mean, I didn't certainly want to hurt her. I mean, but just had to figure out if I wanted to accept everything. And, it all worked. And it all worked fairly well, really, outside of lack of sleep and kids that don't have inside voices.
What are you talking about? We were perfect angels, Dad. What are you? How long did you guys date before we met you? Because I don't really know. Because I was little. Because I was like 7.
7.
When we met you. How long had you guys been dating before Mom introduced you to us?
2 or 3 months. 2 or 3 months, I think.
Okay,
Because that was kind of Mom's rule.
that's a good rule.
She didn't want to introduce your kids to somebody too soon, in case it didn't work out.
I knew enough people who had the revolving door policy for men in their lives, and I didn't want that for you and your brother. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
I was not super thrilled about him anyway. So
No, you weren't thrilled about anybody.
it was very hissy. For the listeners that don't know, my favorite thing to be as a child was a cat. So I communicated a lot through hissing and crying and meowing. A lot of hissing at Dad.
Yeah.
First off,
Scratching.
very not easy to warm up to as a child. Not very lovable. Like dirty, wore a lot of black. So I had like a goth phase at 7. I was like,
I think it's really normal for kids to always hope that their parents get back together again. And he was just the sign that your dad and I weren't going to get back together again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's hard for any child. It's normal.
yeah.
I don't know about the hissing, but
Look, you put me in therapy. It turned out mostly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, but it was a journey. I mean, it and another thing too was, Mom had her hair on fire because she was a single mom. She had to juggle a whole bunch of different things, and she had calls. When she did home care, she had to be on call, and when she was on call, what would she do with your kids if she was called out in the middle of the night? And it would be so you have to dump you off with
We'd have to go to someone else's house.
something else's house, or
I paid a babysitter to stay at our house because we didn't have any family where we lived.
right.
Right.
And I looked into moving back home too, but the the financial, the financials just weren't there. I would have taken such a cut in pay,
Well,
and
Grandma and Grandpa got sick right after you got
yeah,
divorced.
Yeah.
yes,
So like you pretty much, so Mom, you got divorced, and then Grandpa died, and then Grandma died, like within like a year. All of that
within
happened.
18 months, I lost both my parents and I got divorced.
It's a lot. It's a lot to kind of handle by yourself.
Yeah, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. But you make it through. But yes, I lived like my hair was on fire every day.
Mhm.
Every day I would wake up and I would be so happy if the car started. And that's literally the truth, because
Oh, that Oldsmobile
I
was
I
horrible.
I had to sell my van because once I got divorced, of course, and I'm sure anybody listening understands this, my bills, without that other income, my bills were greater than my income.
Right.
And I had to get rid of the car. I couldn't have a car payment. I didn't really feel like living in a trailer down by the river. So I did what I could to keep us in our house. And that meant getting rid of the car and driving a beater, which ended up being a bad decision because
It would break down all the time.
because it broke down
It's
all the
horrible.
time. But that was something for Dad to think about too. Is me living with my hair on fire, and I think he felt like maybe he could help, and I think that was part of,
Well, I thought if I helped you out, I could see what you looked like without your hair on fire. I mean, I had to know what the normal you could be, So, the easiest way to do that would be to help you out, and well, that's kind of what happened.
And then you became
I became
the coolest babysitter.
the babysitter, drop you off to school, the pick you up from school, the pick you up from after school, babysitter, all that.
I think you did a pretty good job.
Well, and it let Mom settle down so I could know her for what she was and not for the crazy woman that she
Yeah, when you
was when I
sleep
first
3
met.
hours a night and you don't have any, you're worried about paying your bills constantly, you're not
Yeah.
like in a great headspace.
Well, and part of my not sleeping was I really was trying so hard to maintain some semblance of normalcy for you both. So I would spend time with you until you went to bed. And then after you went to bed, I would do everything else. Like I would do my charting, I would do my paperwork, I'd pay the bills, I'd do the laundry, I'd wash the floor. And I'd be like, I have all this stuff to do, and I'm never going to get it all done. But that's what, I wanted you to have some kind of a normal life. But what it really ended up being was I'd read you a story and I'd wake up 2 hours later and you and Vince would be playing on the bed, wide awake, and they'd be jumping on the bed. The lights were still on, and I'd have fallen asleep.
Well, we got naps all day. That's really the problem. I feel like daycare should not allow naps because then kids don't want to sleep. But they do it so that they have a break, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, it actually, wasn't long before I actually stayed there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you kind of started living with us by the time I was like 8, right?
Well, again, I could fix meals for you guys. If she was working late, I could, get you all ready for bed. It's hard to, well, it's easier to do that when you're living there. And certainly if she gets called out in the middle of the night, you're there too. So and plus it got us to know each other a little bit faster too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely made it easier.
yeah, made it easier.
Mm-hmm.
I think it definitely improved mine and Vince's life pretty significantly too. Just like having more stability and like, because before you came, we'd have to just get up in the middle of the night and go places.
Right.
And like,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how it was when the divorce was happening too, is like sometimes things would happen and you just have to leave. And like, there just wasn't, and everything kind of seemed out of control and like very scary. And so like I think once you came, like you made us all feel a little bit safer.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good.
Well, more normal.
Yeah, it was more normal. It's like we
Right.
eat breakfast and we have chores and like you gave us like responsibilities and like taught us stuff, and we'd hang out with you. So it was just like, it was nice.
What? You didn't like eating dry cereal in a cup in the back seat of the car while we waited for the daycare to open? What?
I liked it when we ran out of milk and we got to eat ice cream with it. That was fun.
And that was a thing. I know that happened.
So I have more questions. So you guys, like, you dated for a long time. You waited a really long time to get married. Like, you guys didn't get married until you had been dating for almost, what, like 4 or 5 years?
No, 3.
No, 3.
Oh, was it that it?
We met in 96 and we got married in 99. So 3.5.
Oh, it felt like a really, I guess when you're a kid, everything feels like a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Because it felt like I was just like, oh, he's my dad. He's never going to leave. Like, why aren't my parents married? Like, it felt weird. You know what I mean?
I think it felt long for us too.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, 3 years doesn't seem long, but it's still long because we kind of went through a lot too.
A lot. Yeah, there definitely a lot of changes happened.
Right.
Because we all kind of became very different people.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot, like, I was I was a little kid. So, like, I got used to you being around, and we got used to, like, this whole kind of, like, life and routine and all that stuff. So, like, why did you guys want to wait? I mean, was it both of you deciding that?
I'm not sure exactly.
He didn't ask me right.
Here
How
we
did
go.
he ask you the first time?
No, I mean, honestly, you think about it, we were still so busy. You know, when you're busy with kids and you're busy with doing everything and you're working, you know, it just becomes something you settle into. I mean, nowadays there's a lot of people that don't even get married, and they've been together for 20 years.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know that we ever would have gotten married, but your Aunt Mary just came over one day with a bunch of wedding venues and dates that would work, and she pretty much it's the truth. She
Aunt
pretty
Mary's
much
my dad's sister.
Yep.
she pretty much planned the wedding.
Oh,
and
really?
We were along for the ride.
Is that what happened?
Here's some readings. I've got some readings, and here's some songs.
It was
You
a
have time if you
shame
could
wedding.
Just look at
It was
these.
a shame wedding.
So they continued to shame us because we weren't married, and so we promised
Oh,
them.
because you were living together, not
Yes,
married?
and
Because
so-
of the
yeah.
Catholic thing?
Yes.
Was it
Well,
really because of the Catholic thing?
No, I don't think it
No.
was. I think they just wanted you to be married. But
That's funny.
we promised them that we would get married before the new millennium,
For the turn of the century.
before the turn of the century. That was our promise to them. So we wanted to get married on New Year's Eve. And I'm serious, but my brothers said, there's no way we're coming where there's snow to watch you get married. So we had to get married in the summer or my brothers wouldn't come.
Oh, they were sad.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
babies. Poor Uncle Doug.
Hmm.
But that's really that's how it worked. But
How did you ask Mom the first time?
Oh my gosh.
oh, I want to tell this story.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't
Tell the
remember
story.
it right, and it seems to be etched in her memory pretty well. So
All right,
we'll
guys.
let her handle this one.
Anybody listening, do not do this. Okay, I'm telling you right now, do not do
Yeah,
what he did.
guys, don't do it.
Do not do this. So it's a summer day.
Al has notes. Al's like taking notes.
It's a hot summer day. I'm sweating like a hog in the house because we don't want to turn on the air conditioning. I'm peeling potatoes, getting dinner ready. And John comes home and he goes, well, I was at my sister's. Well, she gave me my mother's ring, and I might as well probably not do any better than this. So you
Dad.
might as well try it on.
See, that's the part
if it
It's
fits.
kind of a little vague for me. I don't remember those exact words because I thought I had more sense than that to have ever said that. Because, well, first of all, she was peeling potatoes. There had to be something sharp there. So I
That's how it happened.
And you didn't stab him.
That's how it happened.
well,
So
can we put a disclaimer on this? Some sort of
that's really how it happened. I'm telling you. So anyway, But no. But so I said, no, not till you ask me the right way. So it took him 2 more years, and he kept the ring at my house.
3 more years? No.
Well, 2 more years, and he kept the ring at my house. He's like, well, we might as well keep it here, so it's here whenever I'm ready. And then he made me sweat another 2 years. But the best thing, though, I don't know if you're going to touch on this, but the best thing about our courtship was there were no holds barred. He said, this is what I want. And I said, well, this is what I want. And it was a very...
When did you have this conversation? How
right
long
away.
did it date? Like the first
right
day?
away, pretty much.
What did you say to each other? How did it go?
Well...
second date, probably.
Second date.
Oh, I just thought, what? We're not kids. What were we? I was 46 or...
No, I don't know. You were 40. You were 40 when we met.
40? Anyway.
Something like that.
But we're not kids. And, I knew what I wanted, and your mom certainly knew what she wanted, too. So, why not lay it out?
What did you say? What were the discussions?
Something about an unmarried virgin Catholic woman. I don't know, something unmarried virgin.
What? That wasn't a demand. That was just a dream. You're confusing it. Guys,
okay, Joseph.
Guys can.
What are you looking? Are you looking for your Virgin Mary? What is this?
Guys can dream. But I knew reality was what it was, and
well, even with dating, I put a lot of limits on dating, what he didn't like. But I said, hey, listen, I'm busy. I got a job. I got kids. They need me. You don't. So I can see you every 2 weeks. One night every 2 weeks. This is it. That's all I can do.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. That's it. And I put a lot of limitations on the relationship to begin with, which is probably why it took us a while for him to meet you. But he was anxious to meet you because that was part of the puzzle for him. But I wasn't willing to introduce him to you till I knew him a little bit better. So we had some of that going on. But it was the best that we just said I recommend it to anybody. We said exactly what we wanted, and you can take it or leave it. And it was great. So we both decided, well, I guess we could maybe work on this. These aren't too unreasonable.
Otherwise, it's a dance around the unknown.
And there's always fear of like, oh, what do they want from me? Am I meeting these unsaid, unknown expectations?
Right.
And you're always like, oh, well, like, what if I'm not what they're looking for? And you're not willing to put the fullest into the relationship because you're like, oh, what if they leave?
Well, even from a getting, when you're single, oh, I've got this great guy I'm going to meet. I'll spend like 4 hours getting ready for my date. That ain't happening with kids. It ain't happening. It's like, run through the shower, run out with your hair wet. Oh, I gotta go quick. I'll braid my hair. Then he won't notice that my hair's still wet. So it was that kind of a thing. And that's just how it had to be. So it's a different world when you're dating with kids.
Did you shower before dates? Or
my second date, I had to be shorn. I was like a gorilla.
He was. Listen,
okay,
he was still wearing the clothes he wore in high school 30 years prior.
All right. When you're single, who cares? Anyway.
Maybe that's why you're single.
Yeah, well, maybe so. You got to remember, it was super cold out, and we were building this house, too. So,
oh, yeah, that's true.
I was not going to go without hair in my face. And, hair on my head.
Oh, yeah.
I need as much hair as I could get.
Got to keep your face
I
warm.
wanted to steal hair from somebody else. It was so cold.
But he had shoes. I'll never forget your shoes. They looked like something that would clip into cross-country skis. They were like little square-toed things. I'd never seen anything like them before. I'm like, where did you get that
boots?
stuff?
I don't remember.
Were they 1970 dress shoes from like you wore them to prom? Like what did you wear?
Mm-hmm. I had some like boat shoes, which were just...
No, those were normal. But that was the first date. And then the second date, It's this different guy shows up with a haircut and his beard's trimmed and
So
he's
he tried.
had a nice sweater on.
Again, I told Aunt Mary that
His sister.
I went out on a date, and she looked at me and she goes, "You went on a date looking like that?"
So
This
Aunt
woman's
Mary
not
is
gonna-
like the unsung hero of this
Well,
relationship
yeah.
because she made you kind of get yourself up to snuff a little bit.
Well, she could tell me things without,
Hurting your feelings?
pussyfooting around. I mean, she could lay
Yeah,
it
she's
out
your big
because
sister. That's
right.
what we do.
that's her job. Yes, so she kind of straightened me
She
out.
cut your hair when you were young. She's still doing it.
Yep. Take that beard, get it off. I'm like, I'm gonna freeze to death. Nope, you got to do it.
Did you just like wrap a scarf around your face? the next
Nah, I don't
week?
remember. Yeah, probably pulled the hood up until there's just a little eyeball showing or something. But
Like Kenny in the South Park? You were like a little Kenny.
so I cleaned up a little bit better, which I don't know. Probably made Mom think she might have been dating somebody else.
No, it was nice. It shows he put forth the effort. So he scored points right away.
When you guys got into a relationship, like I know Dad was kind of scared of like, some of your past and some of that stuff. What were you scared of? What were you afraid of? And like, were you afraid of just kind of history repeating itself?
Oh, absolutely. Afraid of history repeating itself. But I knew right away he wasn't that guy.
No.
Right
He's
away.
Pretty responsible.
But then there's other fears. There's, you worry about, some sort of financial, I was set financially. I mean, I got to the point where I didn't want to rock the boat. I didn't want to rock the boat with you guys. And it's a time thing. I didn't know if I had time for another person in my life because I was so busy with work and call and kids. And I wanted to devote as much time to you both as I could. So, it's like, oh man, one more person. Ugh. Yeah. Ugh. So that was kind of it. And then I just, I had trust issues. I had a lot of problems trusting.
It was a tough divorce.
It was
I
a
think,
tough
for
divorce.
everyone.
You always feel, I think anyone gets divorced, it's a bit of betrayal and, lies, things get said that aren't true. And it's just a bit of betrayal. So I just didn't know that I wanted to go down that road again.
Yeah, it's scary. I don't want to do it. I think that, I think that it's weird because I grew up kind of having this example of like all the ways that something can fall apart, with like what happened with Bob Dad and stuff. And it changed how I date people, if that makes sense.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Mhm.
It
Changed how I date people.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of like listening to stories about like what that relationship was like and kind of all the things that happened. It just definitely makes me wary of people. Like I have a tough time hanging out with people if they like drink too much or like any stuff like that, or if they don't seem like very thoughtful or very responsible. I'm just like, I'm not gonna wait for you to grow up. Like I don't want to do this. Like I can't deal with this.
Well, and that's self-preservation, right?
It is. But I think it's difficult because I feel like that experience gave me kind of like a leg up in terms of maturity, that when I got to a certain age, I felt like my peers, like people my age, weren't with me on that yet. Because like when I was 20, I was already like, I'm not into this. I'm not into drinking. I'm not into like getting fucked up. Like I don't like this. It's whatever. I'm over it, at 20. Whereas like all my friends are like, they're just discovering it. It's this new fun, cool thing. Like
It's a rite of passage too. I think it's normal for everyone to you're free, you're away from your mom and dad's prying eyes,
let's be
and
dangerous.
let's be dangerous. Let's take some risks. Let's do things. I mean, I did it. John probably didn't do it. Did you, honey? You were just the best.
My risks were like climbing on top of walls with nothing. The whole,
no harness.
no
No
harness,
harness.
yeah, and-
At work.
My dad's
Or-
a carpenter, for anyone that
or
doesn't know.
standing on a steep pitched roof with a sheet of plywood in my hand and answering the phone when Mom calls.
Right. But so to be fair, I think your friends at 20, that's all normal.
Totally. Well, it
It's
took me a long time to be okay with that, and just be like, oh, this is just what people do. And I just like, I'm not into it, but they'll catch up. So like, it kind of like some weird things happen where like I would date people and I like wasn't really okay with what they did.
mhm.
But I kind of understood that that was like a part of a normal thing, but it bothered me, and I didn't
Sure.
know how to express that without being judgmental or without being like a bummer.
Mhm.
I'm still kind of a bummer, let's be honest, but like,
Well, even when I was dating, that bothered me too because that wasn't the household I grew up in, and um,
did your parents drink or anything?
like rarely.
They had too much to do.
They had too much to do.
Because they had a farm and your dad he worked on a farm and a factory job. And how many jobs did he have?
He had a bulldozer. He took care of the hate to say it. He took care of the township dump.
Yeah, that wasn't his main job. That
But
was
he worked
his
at a factory
fifth
full-time.
sideline job.
He worked at a factory and he did landscaping for people and dug foundations for people and worked full time at a factory and ran a farm, which means that the kids and mom ran the farm.
So you ran a farm.
Yeah, we ran the farm
It's a lot of
and
work.
milked the cattle.
So you've pretty much just been working your whole life pretty much nonstop.
Well, it's not a bad thing.
Have you ever had like a period in your life where you were only working one job
Yeah.
and you could like didn't have kids and you could have a vacation or do any of that? Did you ever have like a moment where you didn't feel like overscheduled?
Nope.
I wonder where I get it from.
Nope. When I was young, I had so much, I was trying to get to work when I left my parents, I was in college and I was trying to work my way through college. So then you have that. And then all my friends are like, yeah, we're going to spring break. I'm like, yeah, I'm working at the hospital because I got loans to pay and I
Worked
got
in a factory
stuff to
too,
do.
right?
I worked in a factory the summer after high school. I worked in a cheese factory. And I was totally that guy's pet. Let me tell you, he loved me.
Because you're a badass.
Because I was, yeah, he loved me. Well, because I had a brain. Some of the people there just didn't have a brain. So, I could figure things out on my own and not be told. So, yeah, I did that. But, yeah, I kind of always wish that I could have been that kid going away on spring break.
Yeah.
That never happened. But it's okay. I mean, it is what it is. I'm sure a lot of other people, it just is
Had a
what it
good
is.
life.
I had a good life. I still have a good life. I have a great life.
You're
I went to
visiting Los Angeles with
visiting
your
Los
awesome
Angeles.
daughter
I
right now. Probably
went-
the coolest daughter. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I went to the liquor store with my husband and got liquor and carried it into the restaurant tonight.
Hey, she plays this this poor. I've
Martyr.
never done anything, fun ever. And I hear this and I think, okay, let's see. We've gone on vacation with these people.
That was before.
We
We
go out to dinner all the time.
Yeah,
In fact,
now.
we have to cut back on how many people we go out to dinner with because we don't want to run that much. So yeah,
true.
she does things
Yeah, he's
and has
right.
fun.
Yeah, he's all right. But, it was only, you're talking about younger days. So younger days,
Yeah.
no. But now, no, we party now.
What's one of the biggest fights you guys ever had?
Over you.
Really?
You and your brother. Mm-hmm.
About what?
He called you brats.
Ooh.
And it was, seriously,
How old were we?
oh, you were young. It was early. We were at a family party, a family birthday party. The family birthday party where we have to take Dad's work truck with all his tools so that he can fix everything at that person's house.
Yeah, I remember that.
There's one family member where Dad agrees to just do everything on this person's list, this family member's
Mhm.
fix-it list during an entire birthday party. So while the rest of us are enjoying ourselves at the birthday party, Dad's fixing everything at the house. But the problem is those the children at that house were rather feral, and you and your brother had a bedtime of 8 o'clock. Well, it was time for you to go home, and the party was still going on. And so we needed to go home, but the party was still going on. So we were going back and forth about this. It's time to leave. And you and your brother were acting up, which young children will do when they're tired. And so he called you guys brats, and that was it, man. The gloves were off. I'm like, we're out of here. I packed up all his stuff. He was staying with us. I packed up all his stuff, and I put it by the door, and I said, you can come by anytime and get your crap because we're done.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What did you have to do to get her back?
I might have been these blue eyes of mine. Maybe. I don't know. That was before my hair turned gray. You got to remember that.
His dad was a looker. He
was.
You know what? I put you on my Instagram story today, and Paul V texted me. She's like, are those both your biological parents? And I was like, she's like, maybe I'm racist, but you look like you're both of theirs. And I was like, no, he's my stepdad. She's like, but you have his eyes.
So, I mean, we got past that, and here we are.
How long until you guys dating was that? Was that like a year in?
Yeah, probably about a year in.
Okay.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
It was a year and a half in.
You had a tough time with those kids.
Well, you know, again, I'm maybe trying to maybe not defend myself, but explain myself. You know, I came from a family where I wasn't around other kids. I mean, I grew up with my sister, but then I took care of my aging parents, and then ended up moving out to a house out in Rockton by myself, and it was quiet. My life was quiet. And you get used to that when you spend, you know, a lot of years being quiet.
Well, yeah, you were like 40 years of quiet, and then
all of a sudden, poof.
it's just like a bomb exploded in your eardrums.
Right.
Yeah. It was a noisy household, which, you know, I liked. I thought that was good.
Well, you had got accustomed to that, though.
Dad just didn't like having to wear a cup every time you guys came and jumped on his lap.
Jeez.
He did that instinctive hands over his crotch and legs crossed. There they come. Oh, my God. They're going to squash my nuts again.
Dive. Yep.
Was that a love, Dad?
No. It was an adjustment for me. Big time adjustment. And somebody in this room, the youngest person in this room, could not sleep if there was like thunder in, no kidding, Kansas somewhere.
Look,
The slightest
I was terrified of
bit
everything.
of thunder, she was in her room. Bam.
I was scared of literally everything
You were.
all the time. Yeah, I was. But in fairness, everything was scary for a while. There was a period of time where I was afraid of someone kidnapping me, like real threats. I was afraid the police came.
Yeah.
Like there was scary stuff happening all the time.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid and that happens, like I think I've kind of realized that my anxiety and part of my need to be in control at all times comes from having years where everything was scary and you just didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
And you
Where you couldn't go outside by yourself.
I couldn't go.
I had to be with you. Mm-hmm.
Even in the daytime.
Yes, even
you know,
in the
there were
daytime.
periods of time where like everything, I was scared that someone's going to snatch me out of school. Like that was a real fear I had at 6 years old. So it's like when all that stuff is happening and then you're expected to just like chill out and go to bed and feel safe. Like I never felt safe anywhere. And it took me a long time to feel safe anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't all the time, but you kind of learn that you're as safe as you can be and you're responsible for your own safety. And now that I'm an adult, I have control. I can leave a party if I don't feel safe. I can call a friend. I can whatever. You know, I'm responsible for my own safety. But when you're a kid, you're so little, you don't have control over anything. And so if you don't feel safe and you don't know even if your parents are safe. Like I was worried something would happen to mom. I was worried something would happen to you.
Right.
So like if you don't know even if your parents are going to be safe, Like, how can you trust them when they tell you it's going to be fine, just go to sleep? You
Mhm.
know? So it's just like everything was scary.
Well, and that's true. And that really was a thing for a while
Yeah.
where we all were afraid for a while. So, yeah. I mean, those things happen. So, yeah, glad that's over.
But still, I mean, from, again, my standpoint, both Mom and I were working so hard at that time. I mean, I was still framing houses. I was trimming out apartment buildings. I was putting in a lot of hours, a lot of hard work. And, we really needed our sleep. And sometimes it wasn't easy to sleep.
I was putting in a lot of hard work coloring. I was
Yeah.
probably pushing Vince.
Spelling
places.
bee.
So
You
I
were-
was doing my spelling bee.
You're the queen of the spelling bee.
I was quite the
But
speller.
I think a lot of the things we went through were things that other families go through, except just not that scary part. Just not the crazy,
you know
scary
what
part.
though? Like doing comedy, I've met a lot of other kids that had like really intense childhoods or like just things happen, and a lot of kids that had childhoods way more terrifying. Like I think everyone has different types of trauma, right?
Mhm.
Like your trauma might happen later, it might happen earlier, but ultimately we all have trauma because we all recognize that we will die someday, that the people we love will die someday, and that we don't really have control over those things. And that's just what happens. And like you have these traumatic experiences, and it might happen when you're really young. It might not happen until you get older, but we all kind of have these experiences and kind of have to deal with them. But I think like just if it happens when you're really young, it imprints your brain a little bit differently chemically.
Well, because you think it's going to be that way for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because you
and
haven't had a normal life that you can remember.
There's no other blueprints. You think
Right.
like this is just how things are. It's kind
Right.
of like, I mean, like imagine if like kids that are born into a war zone, like how do you sleep at night? Like how do you adjust? Like how do you know what normal is? You have no gauge for it. So it's just like, oh, we just have to be vigilant at all times,
Right. And honestly, there's a thing where, kids who have some sort of issues or some sort of trauma, that's all they know.
Right.
So they continue to create it.
Right. You don't have self-awareness. Whereas like I was talking with Carlos Delgado, who came on the podcast earlier, and he was basically saying that like his childhood was so insane. And he didn't really start to be able to access his emotions until he was 25 years old because he just didn't have any structure. Whereas like with us, like stuff was kind of crazy, but then dad came and things kind of mellowed out and we went to see therapists and like things kind of got to a place where it's like, oh, this is manageable and good.
Mhm.
Like this is doable.
Mhm.
Whereas like there's some people that they're just like, oh, everything's just chaos all the time. We'll just keep going with that.
Yeah,
And
that's
they just
not
kind of
good.
you just repeat it forever. So it's like I think that we are lucky in the fact that it was like a blip. So like I have this experience and I know things that can happen, but that I also know how good things can be. I think you guys did a pretty good job of like overcorrecting maybe a little bit.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, by overcorrecting, you're talking about the Beanie Baby phase when we
Mm.
bought you every Beanie
Oh yeah,
Baby.
you spoiled me a lot. There
Yeah,
was
I
like
swear.
I got all the art supplies for
Everything.
sure. Yeah.
Everything. Anything you wanted.
You felt really good.
Because we felt so bad that, of everything that had happened.
Hold
well,
on.
Dad didn't.
No. Yeah. No,
Mom
I was happy if they had like 5 Beanie Babies, not 55.
We gave them away to charity.
But
Yeah, I think there's still some.
I bet
No,
we probably
gave most of them
spent
away.
Most of them we gave away.
probably had $300-400 worth of Beanie Babies.
I probably could have retired by now if I wouldn't have bought so many BB
or he would have
Beanie
left them in the
Babies.
packaging.
Those Beanie Babies enriched our lives immeasurably. And we did share a Game Boy. So I feel like
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. So we had some parenting differences, certainly. Mom wanted to always overcompensate. And I realized you kids really didn't have it that bad.
we're pretty
know,
fine.
You really
Mhm.
didn't need all that she was trying to give you. She was trying to make up for things. And it's honestly, they're doing okay. You leave them alone. We can.
Well, I think in a lot of ways, like your personalities, like you temper each other. you know? So like there's, you know, one of the sweetest things mom told me is how she gets you to talk to her friends, to your friends. Do you want to tell them, mom?
Go ahead.
John's not a good communicator with all his friends. He's got wonderful, wonderful friends from his childhood. He's still friends with the people he grew up with on his block, but he doesn't ever call them. So I just call them and I hand the phone to John and say, hey, Bill's on the phone. Here, talk to Bill.
And then you talk for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, wonder what Bill called for.
Yeah.
But it's part of a thing. I think it's part of life is there's always one person. It's usually the woman. It's usually the woman who keeps everyone in contact. I think that's a stereotype, but I
Yeah.
do think I think it's a thing. So I've taken over the job of making sure that we stay in touch with his family. We stay in touch with his friends because that's a big part of his life. That's why we did Car Corner when we built the
Yeah.
little trophy corner for him.
Dad restores cars, Pontiac and a VW
Beetle.
Beetle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But anyway, let's go back to the tempering part because mom will call. I mean, we'll dish up our plates for dinner, and we'll sit down, and that first forkful of food is ready to come out, and she'll go, and she's beeping, she's dialing the phone to call somebody.
Finally sitting down.
I'm like, whoa, wait, what are you doing? Well, I want to call Andrea. Oh, no, what? Can we wait a half an hour so we can eat? You know, so this, you know, it's that incessant. She gets a bug in her head and she's got to call somebody. She's going to call somebody.
Mom, if you don't have ADD, I don't know who does.
Yeah.
Like,
I know what you're talking about. What you talking about?
I do. I think that, like, I think I learned a lot of really important lessons from both of you. Like, I feel like, you know, like, because you kind of had these conversations and there was always kind of this compromise, you know, like, Dad taught you both, first of all, taught me the value of, like, working hard. And you taught us in different ways how to work hard and what that means. Like, Mom is like, well, you schedule things and you do this. And, like, Dad was more like, oh, you just work till the job's done and you don't spend a lot of time doing other things when you're on the clock and, like, that kind of stuff. But then there's also, like, Mom kind of tempers stuff like, well, you have to have fun and you have to have a good time. Like, we're working for something, you know, we're working all this time so that we can enjoy life in the end. And I think you guys did a good job of kind of like push pull, kind of teaching us different things, you know, like Mom is very like book smart, go, go, go. And like Dad is more like, well, let's just sit with a problem and figure it out. Like Mom, you'll
No,
watching Mom try to untangle a necklace is hilarious because you'll just like pull at it and get frustrated and walk away.
Mom is
I get it untangled. It'll happen.
Whereas like Dad will be like, well, let's just take some time with it and you'll slowly figure it out and you'll pull it all apart. And
your mother is spontaneous. That's what they call that.
oh yeah, spontaneous, not spastic.
We walk into the furniture store, first sofa, done. Let's buy it. John will sit on every sofa in the store, and then we'll decide what we're going to buy.
But then we'll end up with a sofa that we really like instead of the first one that was shiny.
Yeah, because I don't want to waste time looking at
Yeah,
stuff.
more like Mom.
I want to make the decision and move on to the next subject.
Yes.
That's what I want to do.
Yes.
That's how
But
I
I
work.
mean, like even on vacations or going somewhere or whatever. I mean, she's so spontaneous. She wants to just do it. Let's just go this way, you know. And like, well, maybe let's check the map or let's check something.
Road
Fuck
closed. Road closed.
Yeah, but if we didn't follow Mom's spontaneity, we never would have gotten to go to that cool rusted metal sculpture park in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was in the Dakota somewhere, South Dakota, I think.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then we did all this planning to go to that rock museum.
That was someone's backyard.
That was someone's
with
backyard.
rocks.
In what?
That was in the Dakotas.
Dakotas.
Vince and I made friends with a cat. You guys were like, we're getting our money's worth. We're going to look at every rock. We were like, why? Why is this happening?
Literally, it was this fossil museum was a ranch house with a fenced-in backyard with a bunch of rocks tossed in the back, and I am not
But they had
kidding.
great brochures.
The brochures were amazing. And then we got there and we're like, oh my God, we're paying money for this.
I think, Al, where are we at for time? Yeah, I think we're like at a good time. Yeah.
All right, cool.
So I'm going to end this by thanking you guys for birthing me. Well, and you for
I didn't do nothing.
coming in. I feel like you guys have taught me so much, and like, I love you so much.
We love you so much.
I mean, I think about this a lot, and I think about kind of who I am as a person, and there's, your voices are in my head all the time. Like, you taught me so much about compassion and about love and about taking care of people and spending the time to kind of see people. I think part of the way that I'm compassionate has a lot to do with, I remember, we'd see someone and they'd be mean or something would happen, and Dad would be like, well, let's just think about what their day might have been like. And let's just take a minute to see what might be happening in their life. And that kind of compassion is something that as a young kid helped me be more tolerant and forgiving when people hurt my feelings or when people were mean to me, and just kind of understanding that we're all kind of trying to live our own lives.
Yeah. You never know what someone else is going through. You just never know.
And they could be jerks, but maybe there's a reason they're a jerk too. I mean,
this
you
is
don't
kids too. I mean, you never know what kids are going through. Look what you went through.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that helped me have compassion for other people and for why they might be the way that they are,
What did your friends think about you in your cat phase? I mean,
well, I didn't really have a lot of friends, so
I know, but I mean, they probably thought, wow, this is just crazy, but you had your reasons, but.
Did I though?
Well, they're not clear to me yet, but I'm sure you had reasons.
Look, sometimes. Thanks, Mom.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And I think also like the fact that I'm an artist has to do with like Mom really nurtured me to be an artist, and just spending time with Dad in the wood shop all the time, and him being like, well, why do you think I did this? Why do you think this is put together this way? It just gave me such a good understanding about the physical world and how things are made. And like, I feel so grateful that I know how to like look at a problem and fix it instead of freaking out or just being upset or whatever. Cause like, I know people that look at something broken and they're like, oh, well, that's broken. Whereas like a lot of times like, oh no, we can fix that. Like you just figure out how it works and you can fix it. Like I fixed my jacket the other day. The zipper was like caught, and you know how it like is like pulled apart at the top and the bottom, and you can't. Well,
right.
I figured out how to put the zips back
How to
together.
bend those.
Yeah, just by like playing with it for a little bit. I figured it out. I fixed it, and now I can wear that jacket again. Instead of just like, well, I guess I got to Goodwill it, or I guess I got to go take it somewhere to get it fixed. You know?
Yeah.
So I really
Our
appreciate
generation
it.
was more of a fixing generation than a throw it away generation.
Well, a lot of it's common sense too, which unfortunately should be taught in school or taught somewhere. So many kids are devoid of that. I mean, common sense is...
Should be taught at home.
Well,
with
it should
manners.
be, yes. It should be taught at home, but reinforced maybe at school.
Could be good.
Yeah, let's just talk about this, you working in the word shop. I came home from work one day, you're 8 years old, like, hey, where's Andrea? Oh, she's downstairs using the jigsaw. She's just sawing out little animals for her art by herself.
I was mostly supervised.
Yeah, I mean...
I still have all my fingers. I'm fine.
It would be hard to cut a finger off. It'd be easy to nip a finger and need
Cry
a
a little
Band-Aid, but then that's how you'll learn.
Well,
So-
I still remember you. I mean, you also taught me to kind of face the things that I'm afraid of. Like, I still remember I was really scared of heights, and Dad got a ladder, and he's like, see those bicycle hooks? You're going to take all those hooks out. It better be done by the time I get home. And you just left the ladder there, and you're like, you're going to do it. And I was so scared the whole time. But then after I got done, I felt so much better. And you guys kind of forced us to do things that we weren't comfortable with, and we grew as people because of it.
We've all had to learn to face our fears, and it's good. The sooner you do it, the easier it becomes.
For sure.
I remember the evening we set you and your brother up in the garage during the thunderstorm, and it was lightning and thundering, and we're going to sit here, we're going to watch it all.
Oh,
You
so we
know?
wouldn't be scared of it?
Well, I thought if you saw that we were safe in the house and that we could all sit there and watch this storm go by.
It became really beautiful. Now I love thunderstorms.
Well, I know, but
Mhm.
it's about saying we're in the house, we're safe. So if you heard it at night, you wouldn't be afraid because you're in a safe spot.
Yeah. But it takes learning.
You're not out in the woods. You're not out in in the open.
I'm going to get out of here. Do you guys want to say something you love about each other?
She buys me beer, and I let her do stuff on her own.
He lets me do stuff.
And I
on my
don't
own.
yell at her if she buys stuff much.
I can go to TJ Maxx as much as I want.
Yeah.
Oops. I shouldn't have mentioned that store, right? Oh, sorry.
I think it's okay.
Sorry.
Al
Sorry.
says it's okay.
I think we need to say what we like about you, what we love about you. You've really grown up. You've
Mhm.
not followed the crowd, and that's good. You're smart. Learn to, and you've tried hard to really perfect what you do. You worked hard to be like this amazing artist. We didn't want you to go to art school. We thought you'd be just a fine pharmacist, but we wanted
I'm
to
great
give
at
you
listening, though.
we wanted to give you the chance to prove yourself, and you really did.
Well, you've also done so many different mediums too. I mean, you've sculpted, you've painted, you've done all kinds. I mean, your little bead animals. I mean,
Remember the little bead animals you did in school, and
everything
you sold
did
them?
was so cool.
Oh, yeah. I sold, when I was in 5th grade, Mom got me seed beads, and I made little animals, and I sold them to all the kids at school, and then I gave the money to them so that they could go on a date.
Yeah, you did. It was pretty cool. But you've not been afraid to try new things,
Right.
and that's amazing. That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And do real well at it too.
And
so,
do well at it.
Yeah.
You like my comedy?
Well, we haven't really heard too much of your comedy.
Dad doesn't like it.
I don't know.
I think
The jury's still out yet.
I think we're going to find out Thursday.
Oh, yeah. You're coming to a show.
Coming to a show.
Do you guys want to, Mom, do you want people to follow you on Facebook?
No.
Al says no.
No.
Okay, we're going to get out of here. I love you guys so much.
We love you too.
Okay. I'm going to plug some things that I'm doing. Hey, guys, if you like this podcast and you want to know more about it, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Andrea Loves Everybody. If you want to email us any questions, comments, concerns, cool stories, notes of love, cute love stories, anything, you can email us at andrealoveseverybody@gmail.com. And when this podcast is released, I have some shows coming up. You can check my Instagram at Sundress Comic for any of these dates. But on May 3rd, 4th, and 5th, I'll be in North Carolina at the Cape Fear Comedy Festival. So go ahead, check that out. It's in Wilmington, North Carolina. And then I'll also be at the Comedy Store at 10:30 p.m. in the Belly Room. So come check that show out.
What date?
Oh, sorry. See, this is why I need people. I'm so bad at this. So May 19th, I'll be in the Belly Room of the Comedy Store at 10:30 p.m. in Los Angeles, California. And on May 23rd, I'll be at the Pack Theater at 9:30 p.m. for the Dating is Hard show. And I know all about that. So thank you guys so much for listening, and I love you. Bye.